Let's look at 3.2, which is all about logic. We're going to look at different statements and compound statements and then express them in symbols. So let's look at simple and compound statements. A simple statement conveys one idea with no connecting words. Compound combines two or more simple statements using connectives. So connectives are like and, or, if, then, and if and only if. And statement is it's kind of like an arrow pointing upside down, or pointing up. So it's upside down V. Or is a V. If then is an arrow pointing. If and only if is a double arrow. So that's how you will use the statement. So remember we have the statements P, Q, R, S, T. So you can say P and Q, P or Q, if P then Q, P if and only if Q. So let's first look at the and statement. If P and Q are two simple statements, then you can do the compound statement of P and Q, symbolized by P upside down V Q. Symbol is the upside down. So I'm going to put this here. I do want you to recall that we use the little squiggly to represent negation, because we'll be using that also. Okay, so let's look at an example. It says P is, it is after 5 p.m. Q, they're working. So if I say it is after 5 p.m. and they are working, then it's P upside down V Q, P and Q. I'm going to say it like that from now on, P and Q. It is after 5 p.m. and they are not working. So we'd say P and not Q, because it's not Q, it's the negation. So remember that little squiggly. Instead of using and, you can use equivalent words. So and can be the same as but, yet, and nevertheless. It is after 5 p.m. and they are working. It's after 5 p.m. but they are working. It is after 5 p.m. yet they are working. It is after 5 p.m. nevertheless they are working. We have P, I'm running. Q, I'm driving. So let's write it in symbolic form. I'm running and you're not driving. So I'm running is P and you're not driving. You're driving, so we're going to put Q first, but I'm not running. Or statement. Consider the statement I visited London or Paris. Exclusive or means I visited London or Paris, but not both. Inclusive, I visited London or Paris or both. So this connective or can mean two different things. One or the other but not both, one or the other or both. So we can have disjunctness, or disjunction is a compound statement formed when using inclusive or. So the inclusive or means P or Q or both. So this symbol is going to represent or. So it's kind of like the union that we did previously with Venn diagrams. So let's look at an example. P, the bill received majority approval. Q, the bill becomes a law. So let's look at how to write this. The bill receives majority approval, so that's P. Or the bill becomes a law. The bill receives more majority approval, or the bill does not become a law. That would be how you would write. Another example. I complete my degree plan. I graduate. I complete my degree plan or I don't graduate. I complete my degree plan or I don't graduate. If-then statements. The diagram shows a relationship that can be expressed three ways. All poets are writers, so since writers are within the, poets are within the writers circle, all poets are writers. There are no poets that are not writers. If a person is a poet, then they are a writer. So all of these statements mean the same thing. So this is the if-then statement. So if-then statements, the symbol for that is the arrow. So this is called a conditional statement. If this, then that. Antecedent is the before, the consequent is the after. So you put if this, then this. Let P and Q represent the following simple statements. A person is a teenager. A person is younger than 20 years old. Write each compound statement below in symbolic. So it says if a person is a teenager, so if P, then the person is younger than 20. If a person is younger than 20, then that person is a teenager. So it just flipped them around. Q, then P. If P, then Q. If Q, then P. So let's look at another example. If a person is not younger than 20, so that would be not younger than 20, then that person is not a teenager. Common English expressions. So we have the if then statement. So you can use if P then Q, Q if P is sufficient for Q, Q is necessary for P only if Q, or only if Q P. And those are the real world translations. If and only if are called biconditional statements. They are true if the statement is still true when you flip them around. So it's like P then Q and Q then P. Then that means you can have a biconditional statement. The arrow goes both ways. So if a person is a teenager, then that person is younger than 20 years old. If a person is younger than 20 years old, then that person is a teenager. That's not true because they could be 11 and that person's not a teenager. If a person is a teenager, then that person is 13 to 19 years old. If a person is 13 to 19 years old, then that person's a teenager. That makes more sense. So this one is the correct one that you can do a biconditional statement with because they are both true no matter which way you go. P then Q, Q then P. If you can both of them and they're both true, then it's a biconditional statement. Here are other ways to write the biconditional statement. Let's look back at that example, but let's write this as if and only if. So I graduate if and only if I complete my degree plan. Okay, here's some more symbolic. This is more of a summary. So we have negation, we have the and, we have the or, we have the if then, we have the if and only if. So you might see if and only if as IFF. Let's look at this example. P, she is wealthy. Q, she is happy. So we have in parentheses this. So this is going to not be true. So we would write, it is not true that. Because it's the whole statement that's not true. It is not true that she is wealthy. Let's see, what is that? the upside down B is and, so it'd be and she is happy. The next one just has the negation with P. So she is not wealthy and she is happy. Expressing in symbolic form. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to look at where the comma occurs. The simple statements in parentheses appear on the same side of the comma. So we're going to put this, and we're going to put that in parentheses. This other one, we're going to put this in parentheses. So it says if Q, then not P. So Q, then not P, then not R. Q and, so Q and, then we're going to put in parentheses, behind the comma. There we go. If not P, then not R. Okay. Example 7 has a P, Q, and R. A student misses lecture, a student studies, a student fails. So write each of these symbolic statements in words, or these in symbolic. If a student studies and does not miss a lecture, then the student does not fail. So if a student studies Q and does not miss a lecture, then, so all of this is on before the parentheses, or before the comma, so it's going to be in parentheses. Then the student does not fail. Here's another one where it kind of changes it up a little bit. It says a student studies, that'll be Q. And if the student does not miss lecture, then the student does not fail. So see how this has a comma right there? So that means all of this is going to be in parentheses. If a student does not miss a lecture, then the student does not fail. So the student studies, and if the student does not miss a lecture, then the student does not fail. So we have an if-then statement. Dominance of connectives. So biconditional, it's most dominant. Conditional, then we have the and or statement, same level. Least dominant is the negation. Let's look at another example. We have if I do not fail the course if and only if I study hard and I pass the final. I do not fail the course if and only if I study hard and I pass the final. So let's break this apart. We have I fail the course. So let's call that P. Let's do P. If and only I study hard. So let's do Q as I study hard. And then we'll do R as pass the final. So we are going to break these apart and write them with the symbols. So let's see. I do not fail the course if and only if I study hard and I pass the final. This doesn't have any comma, so we're just going to put on right in order. I do not fail the course. So P is I fail the course. So I do not fail the course. If and only if I study hard would be Q, and I pass the final. Next one, I do not fail the course if and only if I study hard and I pass the final. So see how this is all on one side of the comma? So we're going to put that in parentheses. I do not fail the course if and only if I study hard and I pass the final. So it changed it up a little bit by doing the parentheses here because this was all on one side of the comma. All right, that is it for this one.